Wait, what am I doing? No.
Because there's another video on my channel that I made a while back where I did something similar, but it was more of me showing a strategy that I still do, but it's more refined. But recently it seems like a lot of people have been watching it. I made that video almost a year ago, and back then I was more or less just starting my channel. So I had wanted to give an updated version on it. So here's an updated version on how to win Minecraft Treasure Wars. Obviously, when you're playing Treasure Wars, one of the huge differences is going to be simply what platform you're playing on. If you're playing on PC, you're going to have a huge advantage over players who are on mobile, for example. Just because of how mobile's set up on the screen, it's kind of hard to play inherently with the devices. Playing on a computer, you have the ability to use your keyboard, your mouse, and you can set better sensitivities, have better gear, etc., etc. Now, from how I will mark it up to be where top to best for consoles, and any system that you can play Treasure Wars on, top, the best one obviously is a PC. If your PC's not good, then obviously it's going to be worse. But inherently, PC is better just because of the hardware and everything. You can have good mouse, good keyboard, everything that you want to do, you can have. Now, second, at least for me personally, would be playing Xbox One, just because of how an Xbox One's set up. On Xbox One, the controller's nice, it's crisp, and motions are pretty good to do. When you're playing on a PS4, which I ranked as being number 3rd on the list, I would say PS4 is better just because of the system, the rivalry it has with Microsoft. I've never really played a PS4, but that's how I would, what category I would put it in. And I'm assuming people on that platform are just as good as people on Xbox, depending on how long they're playing and how practiced they are. Now, the last one I would say, second to last after those two, would be the Nintendo Switch, just because of how the controls are on the Switch. They can be hard to use at times, especially since they're smaller. Now, I mean this using the Joy-Cons. Using the Pro Pad is probably easier, but when you're using it in terms of switching from an Xbox controller to the Pro Pad or whatever, it gets confusing because of how Nintendo's button layout is different. I don't know if it's any different on the Switch, but I know for a fact that on Wii U, the button layout can be pretty annoying. And then obviously last, as I said before, is a phone. Just because phones they're flat screens and they're stupid and they're just not good for gaming in general normally. Now you can do other things to improve chances, such as getting a controller that can connect to it, and like I said, you can get Bluetooth controllers that can connect right to it. You can get Xbox One S or Xbox One controllers. The original one won't work because there's no Bluetooth enabled. But in the S and X Xbox controllers, you can use them and get the same advantage as those players. And there's definitely options out there where you can playing a game. It depends on what you're using a controller that can use phones or switching phone. And there's definitely options out there where you can even go as far as hooking up a keyboard and mouse. But because of how people play on mobile, about people getting mad at snowballs, because the simple thing is that the game has given you these items, help you. They're in the game for a reason. They're in the game for people who are good with guns, for people who are good with snowballs, to be able to use them for an asset in the game. You should be allowed to use them. Now, the number one thing I want to start off with is the fact that you cannot just go defensive in Treasure Wars. The game is simply not set up for it in this current update. There is not enough blocks to make it worth your while to actually do it, because literally all it will take is a guy in diamond gear and an iron pickaxe or a stone pickaxe, or just walk right up to your base, mine through everything, and get your treasure immediately. You don't need to do anything else other than this, is make a 2-layer pyramid out of wool. Now, don't get me wrong, you can make this out of other materials if you want to, but my ultimate end-all be-all recommendation is to never make it more than 2 layers. And the reason why I say never more than 2 layers is because if you make an object that is very large, people can mine inside of it and then box themselves in, especially if it's a harder material. Then you can't even reach that person anymore. Why I use a pyramid? I use this pyramid shape because it's easier to box yourself in and reach that person anymore. Why I use a pyramid and then box themselves. And the reason why I say, don't get me wrong, you can make this out of other materials if you want to, but my ultimate end-all be-all recommendation is to never make it more than 2 layers. And the reason why I say never more than 2 layers is because if you make an object that is very large, people can mine inside of it and then box themselves in, especially if it's a harder material. Then you can't even reach that person anymore. Why I use a pyramid? I use this pyramid shape because it's easier to box yourself in a shape that is anything else other than this pyramid. Within 2 layers, it's hard to box yourself in to make a barrier around yourself that wasn't there before. If you build a perfect cube or a random array of blocks, it's much easier for a person to grab their own blocks and box themselves in and then mine your treasure while you're trying to get them. Snowballs in this game are extremely OP. Not a lot of people use them. I think more people should be using them. They're very cheap compared to most items. They're only like an emerald. For 5 emeralds, you can run the table across the whole map. I've been able to win games only using snowballs. It's just an incredibly good item that people don't take advantage of. It's kind of the same concept with bows, except bows are more expensive, and bows are useful for the fact that they do damage. So on top of being able to hit somebody off of something, they do damage. If you want to get very strategic, quick hits on somebody, and you want to land damage on that person, you should use a bow. You can acquire diamond armor and a diamond sword and run the table, especially if you're a decent player. And because armor doesn't go away, armor's permanent in Treasure Wars unless you remove it, it's so valuable to get to and get those 20 emeralds and get diamond gear, at least diamond gear, and then eventually get a diamond sword or whatever else. But the diamond armor is just an important item. If you think there's a dangerous threat in the game, you need to get diamond armor. If you feel like you're not going to win against a certain player, you get diamond armor. Another big thing is speed bridging. Speed bridging is a big deal, obviously. It's a game in the sky in Treasure Wars, and if you can speed bridge, you can do things other players can't. If you're able to speed bridge, you can run to the base next to you and kill them before you can, especially if you can run and jump while doing it. If you're able to speed bridge to middle quicker, you can get away with doing it. There's 2 ways of speed bridging. The first way is simply angling up your player on the block, and then moving forward and testing yourself, and then being able to run with that and jump at a certain point and get to where you want to go. Now, the other way of doing it is if you are on a flat surface and you have like a landing strip or like a running start, and you can run and jump, there's a certain spot where if you hit it and angle it just right and place blocks underneath your feet as you're running, you can actually just randomly start speed bridging off of flat surfaces. Now, this is more of a good way to run away from other players. If somebody's chasing you, you need to get away. There's no clear path for it. If you're able to do that motion, just get away. One thing that a lot of people don't do either is building up and over. Obviously, in certain circumstances, it's not as important, but building up like a small staircase and then building across, especially moreover at the start of the game, when there's a person next to you, can be important so that they can't just rush you back. If you build a straight bridge from your base to the generator, they can just walk right across your bridge and kill your stuff. Although if you need to get a rush on them, and you think it's faster, it's circumstantial a lot of the time. However, building up and over is save your game. I also want to make clear that on any version of Minecraft you're playing on, whether it's mobile, PS4, Switch, Xbox One, or on a computer, all of these things are possible. You can speed bridge on a phone still. You can use a bow on a PS4. You can do all of these things. It just comes down to how good you are on your platform that you've chosen to play on, how good your system is, and how good your internet is. And unfortunately, that's the reality of it. But at a certain point, you need to address yourself as a player and look at how to get better. Also, it doesn't just come down to CPS, clicks per second. It doesn't matter how fast you're clicking. It doesn't matter how fast you're aiming if you can't get clicks. It doesn't matter if you can't get combos. It doesn't matter if you can't strategize. A big part of this game is being able to strategize, being able to aim, and being able to get clicks per second. If you can do all of those three things, strategize, get some decent clicks per second, and being able to aim on the other player, then you can take wins if you can just do those three things. That's obviously hard, but you've got to practice. You can't just expect to win. And you can look at every strategy you want. You can look at everything you want to do. But honestly, at a certain point, it comes down to how good you are as a player before Treasure Wars, and how much you actually want to practice in the game. Now, at the end of this video, there is about a 5-minute clip where I run through a game and start to finish beat it using most of the strategies I'm talking about now. Now, I will take note that the people in that game, they weren't very good, and I was using the full ability and going try hard on everything, being able to strategize and using a bow and just doing what I got to do to take the win. And I kind of wrecked it and got a game in 5 minutes. I'm just switching. I'm sending that. Does Spin Rod just die? Yeah. You can do it again. Sure.
No!